Good evening, everyone, or morning or afternoon, whatever it is where you are. We are back with our 5:30 p.m. presentation, where Gina Johnson will be presenting a paper titled The Co-op Catalyst, Reimagining Esports Infrastructure to Address Social Isolation, Workforce Gaps, and Global Digital Transformation. Thank you so much for being here today, Gina. All yours.
Thank you so much for having me. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you guys are. I'm thrilled to announce this opportunity that people all over the world, in the nation, in the U.S. or other countries, might want to get involved in. My gamer tag is Idaho Gamer Girl, but I'm as she said, I'm Gina Johnson. I run a video game charity called iGame USA. And today I want to talk to you about one of our projects that is happening in the Treasure Valley region of Idaho. And hopefully by the end of this session, you'll be able to learn how the concept is, how you can get involved, and if you want it in your area, how you can reach out to me and I can help you provide pro bono connections as well as support to get your own community co-op running. So before we begin, a quick note into the project. This represents the nonprofit work of iGame USA. It's a federally registered 501c that I have built for nearly 10 years. If you do want to create your own project, please understand that this is put a lot of effort into us. So our goal isn't competition, it's collaboration. So as I said earlier, if you do want to get involved, great. If you want to do your own thing, please reach out, because together we can ensure esports benefits every community. So let's go into the objectives. The seminar goals include, we're going to learn the facts, which is a data-driven look at how esports connects to our economy, education, and mental health. Then we're going to have a short history of why social isolation became so critical for gamers and how that impacts our economy. And then we're going to, what we call the source code, the cooperative blueprint turning healthy play into measurable progress is what we're going to be hoping to create at the end of this session. So let's start with the stats. Gaming contributes over $100 billion a year to the U.S. economy, supporting more than 350,000 jobs. Yet here in Idaho, growth really hasn't reached us. We have the passion and space just like every other state, but we have limited pathways for careers. Now, Idaho obviously is not normally known for the gaming side, but the history here is important. I'll touch on that in a minute. But given that layoffs have hit over 40% of developers since 2022, thousands of creative professionals are trying to find new opportunities, whether it's starting a new company, a company expanding their location on the rare chance that they are, or if they need to relocate to reduce the costs so that they don't have to lay off more, or maybe rehire some of their candidates they wanted to keep. So while this information on the actual how can I put it, the stats of our economy, one of the biggest things that we offer is proximity to the Western markets, specifically Oregon, Washington, California, Vancouver, Utah, Nevada, Arizona. Now, Idaho is a place where it has a fast economic growth. We've been number one for high-speed growth because people are retiring or moving here and we're working remotely. And while politics may seem that it's different, that doesn't mean we don't have a good baseline model that people can build off of. So before COVID, most gamers gathered only online. They lived in what we'd like to call modern caves, connecting digitally, even when we are physically alone. When lockdowns came, that isolation deepened. Even after reopening, many never rebuilt in-person communities, even like communities like D&D, it became harder because everyone was working multiple jobs just to keep food on the table, and they still are. So this inspires the Co-op Hub, which the goal is to have a shared space where gamers, creators, educators, nonprofits, and the community at large can connect, collaborate, and rediscover belonging. So I know I'm a little bit out of order here, but luckily I pre-recorded a video that's much more coherent that you can find on our website right now if you wanted to tune over to that instead. But our programs right now for the co-op, for the community center, we are trying initially to create a biography game engine for students where gamers in 6th grade through 12th grade can create their own video game. They can have their own, what can I call it? They can have their own biography as a video game by playing other people's biographies while they're in school. The goal is to create soft skills, improve reading, writing comprehension, and then reduce judgment, which is the overall goal to combat bullying. Our mission is simple: to empower social unity and learning through play. Our vision is a scalable nonprofit esports model linking education, inclusion, and innovation. And the co-op that we're hoping to build empowers students to gain STEM and leadership skills and invites adults to rediscover creativity and friendship. Overall, our programs and the co-op, we want to try to bring something where healthy play doesn't restrict gaming. Instead, it channels it towards purpose and progress. So the co-op is a community center, is a 2-building campus in Nampa, Idaho that we're looking to acquire. The first is a 100,000 square foot facility. The other is a 12-screen, repurposed 12-screen Edwards Theater that closed in 2019. The goal was to unite nonprofits, residents, and gamers in a hub where learning, entrepreneurship, and creativity can converge. Collaboration is our power source. That is the foundation of any co-op. But unlike grocery co-ops and co-ops in general for like co-oping shared space for remote work, our hope is that by sharing costs, cities and partners across the Treasure Valley can create more impact with fewer resources. Funding comes through sponsors, naming rights, and grants, while sustainability grows through events, memberships, subleases, and merchandise. Partnerships with schools tie in the game design, software, cybersecurity, but they also tie into something different that also impacts the career pipeline. Here's a quick floor plan of what our 100,000 square foot facility looks like. To give you a quick walkthrough, when visitors arrive, they're greeted by inspiration in this area. Inside are the tech labs with hundreds of CNC 3D print and laser machines. This one is a classroom where people would learn how to use the machines, do on-site demonstrations. And then this one is our manufacturing lab, where they would be able to have, print whatever they want. The game studio right here is for students who want to help design our anti-bullying curriculum kit. We want to have a drop-in game studio so that anybody can come in and support the development, but also it could serve as an element for folks who want to come in and create their own companies. We can create a pipeline for them to do that. So our radio station right here consists of a 12 podcast rooms with our actual radio station. The computer labs, which are right here, and a little bit right here, act as both classrooms and arenas. Mainly these areas would be for middle school, high school, esports. And when they're not doing that, you could do practicing or you could do classrooms. This area is designated as our LAN area for up to 150 people, depending on how many devices we have in there. Our MOPAP facility is a place that people who are athletes, obviously Idaho is an outdoor community and gamers are mostly indoor. So if we're going to get folks into game design or game development, and studios are going to want to come here, we're going to train athletes who choose not to go pro, or maybe they didn't get drafted, or maybe they had an injury, but they still want to be able to be active. This mocap center will train people who want to learn that and get them ready to be able to be used for any type of development, whether it's film, gaming, all sorts of things. We have a library and a co-op store that would have visual resources. So instead of your regular library, we would have books from possibly from Barnes and Noble, where any returned undamaged books, instead of going to authors, they'd go to us, and we would hopefully have books from DK, who have the visual guides, the reference books for software and stuff, the dummy guide books. People who really need that visual element to learn things, not just on the equipment that we teach them or the software that they can engage in, but that would help them. Now, obviously, you can see here's our main esports arena. Our main esports arena is pretty big. We have our live ops system in an overlook, and we have our kitchen / fundraising area. The in-house kitchen and event center will teach culinary skills while feeding the community, but it would also act as a catering service so that anyone who participates in our co-op will be allowed to basically just rent the facility for free, and whatever funds they raise will a percentage would go back to the co-op operating costs. So this is all, obviously I'm going in pretty fast, not really keeping myself in sync. But as I said, the video that's on our website at gameusa.com has a more clean coverage. So just wanted to share that with you. Our student-run theater is ideally in partnership with Regal, because they don't just offer unique screenings, but Regal was the main holder of the Edwards Theater here. And because these buildings are right next to each other, the hope is to have two screens for youth with autism or sensitive screenings, an adult sensory craft area. If you look in Europe, there's a lot of places like Amsterdam and Italy that have craft rooms for folks who need something to do, but while they watch. We'll have a room for blind and hearing loss, so you'll have audio descriptive on everything. We'll have regular shows that are releasing new releases or specials. We'll have 5 flexible screens for whether it's fundraisers, expos, film festivals, tournaments, and then we'll have 2 screens for trade simulators. Now, that's a big deal, because when people want to get a job, most of the jobs in trade require a huge amount of effort to get into the education. And so we instead want to take a different approach. We want to be able to provide trade companies like the CAT team, who obviously they offer the certifications through certain colleges to do construction. And there's the private pilot license, which the nearby Nampa Airport has. And then we also have the whatchamacallit, we also have the long haul trucking. Simulators like that, we're hoping to have in the theater, because obviously they require black screens. And we need those simulators, because the goal isn't just to get gamers of all ages and their families into this co-op. It's to get them into trades by either learning how to do it via an experience to test out the simulator, or it's to get them experienced in creating their own company using our tech labs and our software curriculum that we're going to teach. So, addressing concerns. No co-op thrives without ethics. Our pillars require us to balance screen time and through structured programs. By doing that, we're going to take a break every few hours. Everyone's computers are going to be locked out. And the reason that is because we want everybody to move. Obviously, we can't get support in a traditional state like Idaho without getting people outdoors. And to do that, we need to be able to get them to move. if we, for folks with disabilities or conditions that may or may not prevent them from doing that, we can work with them on a specific movement plan. We also have the opportunity to network with groups like Black Box VR. Now, all of the companies I'm talking about may not actually work with us, but they're just topics of interest. Now, age-appropriate content with family guidance is a big deal. While we will have the hope of having a Call of Duty league or a place for people to hang out, just to share interest and learn as they go. We will also want to be able to give them the opportunity to play the hundreds of simulators out there available on stuff. So the hope is that maybe with this process, we will be able to provide inclusive access and get folks who are outdoor fans interested in indoor stuff so that we can get indoor folks outdoors. So joining the co-op means joining a movement. Sponsors, educators, and nonprofits share visibility through events and live streams. Together, we can build cross-generational bonds that benefit players, partners, and communities alike. When nonprofits and brands unite, everyone wins. So I just want to say, again, I obviously have a little bit of a difficulty today presenting live, but this entire slide and there's more is given on our website in a pre-recorded video. So I wanted to say thank you for spending this time with me and iGaming USA. To learn more, you can scan the QR code. You can donate, volunteer, or collaborate, no matter where you are. If you are internationally, currently we cannot work with you unless it's on a pro bono basis due to the IRS rules. But we do hope that by having this presentation, it would open up doors, not just for your community, but for ours. And together we can redefine healthy play, transforming gaming from passion to purpose and from isolation to inclusion. Thank you so much, and I look forward to your questions.
Thank you so much, Gina. It sounds like a really interesting project. I'm looking to see in the chat if we've got any questions right now, and I'm not seeing any. So I will ask one for you. You know, figuring out a company and a space is a lot. What's your hope for the next 5 years? How does this turn out ideally if everything goes the way you're hoping it does?
Well, there are a lot of people who are willing to put, obviously this co-op is an experiment on a great scale. It may not work and people may not show up, but the hope is that our private donors that we're trying to seek, not just ones who may watch this video, but others who may be interested in doing their own project in their own community, we can help them guide on all the levels of how they need to create their network, how they need to create partners. Most of our partners are verbally interested partners. And our 5-year plan is mainly if we can secure the 2 buildings by March, we could be up and running by fall next year. And the hope is that we have private donors who will pay off the first 2 years of expenses so that everyone is free. Obviously, we'd have to charge memberships and a few other things for basic reasons. But if we could have private donors pay for those first 2 years, it would give us the data we need to understand where we need to find financing, where we need to look at things. Do we need to scale back, or maybe do we need to expand on certain stuff? But 5 years is there's a lot of stuff that could happen. Obviously, we have had a lot of interesting events happen these last 5 years alone. So if you were to tell me a pandemic would completely change everything, I'd probably not believe you. So my hope is just optimistic. And if anything, if our building doesn't come through, I would love to work on other projects that people may want in their communities. I am going to be in LA from December 8th to the 12th. So if anybody wants to meet me in person, I can help them if they want. So, but again, Amanda and the Esports Research Network Conference, thank you very, very much for this opportunity. And I look forward to anybody who has questions that may or may not be sent later.
We did have another question come in the chat that says,
Okay.
what have been the biggest things you've learned when trying to attain funding in the esports space?
That's a good one. The biggest thing I learned would be that people in Idaho don't see gamers as gamers. We have over 500,000 gamers here in Idaho, but you wouldn't notice it because we're such an outdoor state. Funding has been difficult to source here because it's not that people aren't interested. It's just everyone is competing for the same money. As a result of COVID, new charities like ours came in with not just the competition of people who already have success, but now everyone is asking for money every month, every week. You know, you see it in the mail or in the emails or phone calls asking for support. And so what we hope is different is that if we want to get the financing, if people donate to our co-op, they're going to support all the co-ops. So, I mean, not all the co-ops, but all the organizations, because we want to lease out space as low as $50 for shared space in the office, which can hold up to 4 people. So if a company or organization or private donor wants to give the most value to their dollars, they could be donating to our nonprofit and help up to 500 nonprofits as a result. So financing is easy when you can talk about it, but when you need to get it, it's a difficult subject. So
Excellent. I don't see any other questions coming in, and oh, I saw a great thank you came in from the person who'd asked that question. And we are just about at time. So thank you so much again, Gina, for sharing this project with us. And we're going to move to break now before we come back for our second to last presentation of the day, talking about the Ancient's Guide to Esports Production. So see you all in about 5 minutes.